Alright folks, welcome back. Just want to say thank you for coming back to my channel, and I wanted to hurry up and get this video done here before it got too late. Here's the reason why. So I've been kind of meditating on this thought for the last couple of days, and I was going to wait on doing this, but just from some of the posts that I've seen, not necessarily on my page, but from what I've just seen with some other leaders, some other folks on Facebook, and one post that kind of motivated me to get this done today. And it's a little phrase here I want you guys to think about, and I'm kind of going to go probably on a different angle here for you. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of that phrase, time is a thief, right? But I'm going to tell you that's not necessarily true. It's not time that's a thief, okay? It's fear that's a thief. Fear. Not time, but fear. Okay, time is just like the ferryman, right? Let's go back a little bit with like Greek mythology, right? With Charon, who would ferry the dead heroes and such across the river Styx, which is like one of the 5 rivers in Greek mythology near Hades, where he would basically ferry the dead across, kind of like on their trip to the underworld, excuse me. So what you're looking at here is all Charon was just the ferryman. That's all it was. He was just the guide, right? He wasn't death, right? He wasn't the one that murdered or killed. He simply just took you from point A to point B, from one destination to the other. And that's what time is. Okay, time is just going to continuously take you from point A to point B to point C. Okay, however, it's up to you to decide what that direction is. Time will get you there sooner or later, but it's up to you on where that destination is going to be. And that's where fear comes into play. Okay, because what fear does is that fear robs you of your success. It does. And I know I've been guilty of that myself. And folks, if you're honest with yourself, you know you've been guilty of it as well. And whatever that fear is, okay, whether it's fear of heights, whether it's fear of enclosed spaces, whether it's fear of doing a business, whether it's fear of going to an interview at a job, whether it's fear of talking to that guy or girl that you got the hots for, that you just, look, I don't know if they're in my league, I don't know if they're going to say no, I don't know if they're going to say yes. You got that fear of rejection, right? Fear is a thief, and you've got to conquer that. Okay, you've got to overcome that fear, because what it's going to do is rob you of those fruits that you have waiting for you. Okay, don't let it rob you. Listen, I just want to get a little real here real quick. It's not the aspect of being afraid, right, that makes those heroes and those champions that we see in movies. It's not, because a lot of them, I can tell you right now, if you watch a lot of the good ones, they are scared. They do have fear. But what they do is that they overcome that fear. That's what makes somebody great. That's the difference between, just a normal citizen and a hero, right? Take some of the most distinguished professions that we have in our country. We've got firemen, we've got policemen, we've got, God bless them, our folks in the military as well, right? They go into the heart of battle. They go into the heart of danger on a daily basis. You can't tell me that some of them don't have a little fear, but what they've done though is that they've learned to overcome and control that fear. And that's what you've got to do. Okay, you've got to understand to embrace that fear. And I think Will Smith said, I was watching one of his videos here about a week or two ago, and he said that the one thing that he fears, I think is what he says, one thing that he fears is fear itself, or he hates being afraid of something. He hates fear. He hates the fact that he's afraid to do something. Okay, and he has to overcome that. And you got to get that in your head, folks. You got to get that in your head that if you want to obtain and grab onto that success, don't be afraid of it. If you want to be able to say, hey, look, you know what? There's a little shorty over there that I just want to talk to her, or there's that guy that I want to hook up with, right? And hear me out here, hear me out. To develop a meaningful relationship, right? Somebody that you really, can see being your soulmate, right? That you can have that lifelong relationship with, right? Maybe you're afraid of the fact that maybe they're not the one. I don't know, maybe I'm not the one for them. Okay, maybe this business, right, that you're doing is not what you think it is. Or maybe the fact that it's not the business itself, but it's the fact that you're afraid of failing. And a lot of times we run into that aspect or that thought and that mentality that we, honestly, if we get down to the subconscious and the core of it, that sometimes we're just afraid of what the success is. And I'm going to do a follow-up video on this because I jotted down some thoughts that just kind of started coming to me here a few days back, and I want to kind of harp on that later in another video. But I want you folks to understand that you cannot afford, and I don't mean this in the monetary sense, but that too, but it's not just that. You can't afford to be afraid and let that fear win. Why? Okay, why do you actually can't afford to be afraid? One, let's go with the monetary aspect. If you've got success here, sitting here right in front of you, a door away, just a simple turn of a knob, and you're afraid to do what it takes to get through that door, you're gonna rob yourself. And it's not, just all the money, but it's just the accolades and the sense of accomplishment that comes with that, right? So what's wrong with saying, hey, you know what? I'm afraid that if I go into this interview, I might not answer those questions right. Fine, then study what you need to study. I'm afraid that if I get into this business, I won't succeed. Fine, then don't be afraid to ask for help. I'm afraid that if I go talk to this person over here and I ask them out on a date, they're gonna say no. Okay, so what? What's the worst they can tell you is no? What's the worst that anybody can tell you when you propose to them a business opportunity, right? Something that you know because it's changed your life and it's changing your life and it can change theirs as well, and they say no. What's wrong with that? That's one no out of the way, and that's another yes waiting for you to come, waiting to happen for you, right? So don't be afraid to, one, take the risk, and let's think about this. The risk of acquiring knowledge, the risk of asking for help, the risk of rejection, the risk of failure, right? You're gonna have those things happen. If you expect to go through life and none of that happened to you, honestly, fantasy world, that's what you're living in. It's gonna happen, okay? At some point in time, you're gonna fail. A lot of the greats, one of them, Michael Jordan, for example, okay? And I've got one of my other videos here in the channel, for network marketing business fundamentals, and it's got a picture of Jordan there, and just kind of went over some information about him, of how many free throws he failed and missed, how many jump shots that he missed, the fact that he actually got cut. I think it was either in high school or college. I want to say it was high school, but he actually got cut from the varsity team. He got put down the JV or whatever. It wasn't even good enough to make that. I got to do my research on that a little more, but that is a fact that Jordan got cut, right? But I think that he said it was one of the best things that ever happened to him, right? Because one, it probably humbled him, and two, that gave him the drive to go and acquire that skill set that he needed to get to the legend that he is today. Okay, if you guys, whether you like him or not, Kobe Bryant's got skills as well. But think about it. Whether it's Kobe, whether it's Michael, whether we look at folks in the MMA world, right, with your Randy Couture's, and let's in your Rampage Jacksons, let's take a look at Arnold, bodybuilding wise, and Lou Ferrigno. Granted, there was a feud between the two, but the fact is that both of them amassed a very high level of success. Okay, let's look at some folks in the business world, right? Let's take some old names like Warren Buffett, right? Donald Trump. Whether you like him or not, toupee or not, the fact is the man has been successful when it comes to business. Okay, let's go another step and let's look at some folks from today in this era, right? Let's look at, people might not like him, P. Diddy, Sean Puffy Combs. Let's look at Jay-Z, right? One of the phrases that he says that he's not a businessman, he's a business man. All right, man, he's a business. That's what he says. And what his mentality is that, look, I'm not just some guy coming in a suit, right? My mentality is I myself am an industry. That's his mentality, right? He himself is a product. And you can't lie with that. I mean, the cat is successful. But the thing is, though, is that you can't tell me that at some point Jay-Z was a little nervous or a little afraid, but what was the thing that turned over in his head, right? The thing that snapped in his mind is the fact that, look, whether I'm scared or not, I can't afford to be scared. So I got to overcome that fear. And that's why he's where he's at today. And all I pray for and all, I want for you is for you to think to yourself, What is so wrong with being a little afraid and overcoming that? Think about it. What is fear going to rob from me, right? Is it going to be that success? Is it going to be the fact that, hey, look, you know what, if I do this, all that's going to happen is I'm going to lose a little bit of sleep. That's it. I'm going to work a business, right? Myself, I'm in Wake Up Now. That's what I'm in. I've got Wake Up Now and MCA that I've been working on. And things have happened personal-wise, family-wise that, kind of got me a little off track. And it's something that was just, it was not unforeseen, but it was just out of our control. And, what's in my mind now is the fact that I refuse to allow my family to ever want or need or be in a financial position that they cannot have. I refuse to let that happen. So I got to do whatever I got to do. And sometimes, you know what, I'm afraid, of what the feedback's going to be. I get a little nervous about that, but then at the same time, though, I figure to myself, what's greater? The fear of that feedback and those comments and that commentary, or the fear of the fact that I'm going to leave my family high and dry? Right? Your need and your want and your desires got to be greater than that fear. And I put my faith in Him. That's where I put my faith in, because I know if I've got Him on my side and I've got Him as my co-pilot helping me and being there for me, there's nothing for me to worry about. So I pray for all you guys out there. I don't care what business you're doing. Okay? You just can't be afraid. You can't be. And there are too many people out there that are making money and being successful. For somebody to come along and say, you know what, hey, it's not for me, man. It's not my cup of tea. It's not my Earl Grey, right? It's not my chamomile. It's not my celestial seasonings. Whatever the case is, right? It's just not my thing. Well, what is your thing, right? And this is not to knock a job by any means, but the thing is, though, is that you gotta be real with yourself, and you gotta be honest with yourself. Am I gonna continue to complain, right, and say, hey, you know what, my job sucks. I hate my job. I hate the people at my job. I hate the customers that come to me on my job, that I speak to on a everyday basis at my job. I hate my job. You want to keep doing that? Or do you want to say, hey, you know what? I hate the fact that I only got like 3 or 4 hours of sleep last night. However, I know the fact that me doing the same thing over again is kind of insanity, right? Expecting different results, but doing the same thing repeatedly. So I'm going to switch up, and I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to do something a little different, because I know everybody else is making it, right? I know everybody else is doing it. I see other people hitting it, making big money. I see that happening. I see the success. But I don't want to do it because I'm afraid of losing a little sleep. Don't be that person. Don't be that guy. Don't be that woman, right? Lose a little sleep. There's nothing wrong with that. Your body's going to tell you when it needs rest. I've been there and done that. There's been times I've gone for days, you can ask my missus. And granted, yes, I know there's been times I've neglected her, but you've got to understand that sacrifice that you make is going to be for the better. Okay, just don't do empty work, right? Do something that's productive. Okay, do you want to be that person at your job that's always complaining? Or do you want to be that cat that says, you know what, yeah, I'm going to work this job, and while I'm here, I'm going to be the best that's ever been, right? I'm going to do my due diligence. I'm going to make sure that when I leave, because of this other thing that I'm doing on the side, right, that's actually my plan A. This job is my plan B, but this right here, this is my plan A. Because the fact is, I'm going to make this happen, because this is going to give me that freedom that I want. It's going to give me that time that I want. It's going to give me that leverage that I want. It's going to give me that flexibility and that ability to say, you know what, if I want to leave today and go take my family to San Diego and go chill for a while, for maybe a week or two, then so be it, I can do that. If I want to go fly out to Hawaii and just go hang out because I've never been before and I want to, then so be it. Okay? If I want to go back and go visit my family back on the East Coast, right? Because of the fact that I haven't seen them and they're not coming out here that I know of, right? For whatever the reason is, then I say, hey, you know what? Make it easy on them. Say, look, scheduling might be bad, money might be bad, whatever the case is, Why don't I just come to you? Why not? Just understand, folks, that desire and that heartfelt drive has got to be bigger than your fear. That's what you got to get in your heads. Okay? You've got to just, and I can't say it enough, okay, but you've got to put wrap your hands around it, that fear, and just choke it out. I know that might sound violent, but that's how you got to attack it sometimes. That's the mentality you got to have. Because I can tell you right now, fear's not losing any sleep, right? The folks that you complain about at work, they're not losing sleep over you. They're not worried about your paycheck and your bills. That's your responsibility, right? That's your responsibility in your house that you got to take control of. There's nothing wrong, right, with just sitting back and saying, hey, this is not for me, but I'm going to handle it while I'm here. And in the meantime, I'm going to kill this. I'm going to just take it apart and just own it. And I promise you this, if you get that in your head that, you know what, listen, fear's a thief and it's been robbing me for months, for years, for decades. Fear has robbed me of promotions. Fear has robbed me of relationships. Fear has robbed me of income. Fear has robbed me of joy. As soon as you understand that, you need to get yourself in a position that, listen, I'm not letting fear own me anymore. It's not going to own me. I'm going to take ownership of fear. Embrace it, folks. That's what you got to do. You just got to learn to take that fear and own it and control it. So I leave you with this, and I got to get out because I didn't want this video to be this long, and I apologize. I want to try to keep them about maybe 10 minutes or more or shorter, but sometimes I just feel it, and sometimes I just got it in my heart. I just want to just try to convey the best messages possible. So please, whatever it is that you do, right, whether you want to come on board with me and what I'm doing, the link is down below in the description on the YouTube channel. Just go and click on the link, inbox me, Facebook me, email me, whatever, okay? If it's a job that you're at, do yourself a favor. Stop being afraid, right? If you don't know what you're doing at your job, ask for help, okay? If you want to get a promotion, talk to your boss. You can't talk to your boss, talk to their boss. You can't talk to them, find another boss and talk to. Find somebody that's in a position, right, that you want to be in, or a greater position that you want to be in, and ask them how they got there, right? As long as it doesn't buck the laws of God and man, right? It's nothing illegal and it's nothing immoral. Then follow that leadership and follow that wisdom. But I implore you and I encourage you to please just understand that fear is a thief. Okay? And don't let it own you. You own that fear. And you take that and you embrace it, and you just use that drive and you just use that motivation to overcome that fear. And I promise you this, you might not see it in the next 5 minutes, you might not see it in the next hour, the next couple of days, but you're going to see it. You're going to feel it happening. That fear, it was nothing. Okay? It's a little ounce of fear. It ended up being nothing, and it held you back for so long. So, I leave you with this, folks. Embrace it, use it, overcome it, and I promise you, success is just a door away. It's just a footstep and just another leap away. I mean, just a little hop, skip, and a jump away, and you guys are gonna make it. I promise you that. So this is Rodney tuning out. You guys have a blessed one. I'm gonna get another one out here if I can. If not today or tonight, I'm gonna pop another one out tomorrow. You guys have a blessed one and take care. Love you. Bye.